Royal Scandal investigates the fascinating history of the Princess Royal title, from Mary Henrietta Stuart, eldest daughter of King Charles I, to Princess Louise, daughter of King Edward VII. Recent whispers have hinted that the young Princess Charlotte may one day take on the title of Princess Royal. The moniker is currently inhabited by Princess and, the eldest, and only, daughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II and the sister of King Charles III. The symbolic title is the highest honor which can be bestowed upon a member of the royal family. Hello and welcome to Royal Scandal. Please do well to like, subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell so as not to miss out on any news updates. And has held this title since 1987, but if her great niece follows in her footsteps, Charlotte will become only the 8th royal woman to have held the title since its creation in 1642. For the last 381 years, the women known as Princess Royal have been at the front row of British and European history. Some were exiled and shipwrecked, many become empresses and queens, while one was even a guinea pig for the earliest vaccinations. So, what is the history of this unique royal moniker? The very first Princess Royal was Mary Henrietta Stuart, eldest daughter of King Charles I, who became Princess of Orange through her marriage to William II of Orange. She was entitled Princess Royal in 1642, after her mother, Henrietta Maria, who was raised at the French court, wanted to adapt the French tradition of Madame Royale. She lived much of her young life in exile in the Netherlands, after her father's execution, but Mary held the title of Princess Royal for life. Though she died at the very young age of 29, in 1660, her only child, William, would go on to marry his cousin Mary and become co-ruler of England, Scotland and Ireland in 1689. There would not be another Princess Royal until the first and to hold the title in 1727. This is due to the fact that the designation is not hereditary but entirely discretionary. It would not be until George II, therefore, that the practice was taken up again, and Princess Anne, his eldest daughter, became its second incarnation. Princess and Princess Royal and Princess of Orange was named after her grandfather's second cousin, Queen Anne of Great Britain. As a child, her life was threatened by smallpox, though she survived by being one of the first people ever inoculated against the disease. Though she married William IV, Prince of Orange, and indeed became regent of the Netherlands from 1751 until her death, 8 years later, she was forever known as Anglophile, undoubtedly due to her upbringing at the British court. It would be 30 years before we would see another Princess Royal. The third holder of the title was Princess Charlotte, the eldest daughter of King George III and Queen Charlotte. By her marriage to Frederick, the Prince of Württemberg, in 1797, she became queen of the region when it was elevated to a kingdom under Napoleon I. Awkwardly, the alliance with Napoleon made her husband an official enemy of her father, George III, and thus, in correspondence with his daughter, the British king stubbornly refused to ever address her as Queen of Württemberg. The fourth Princess Royal was the eldest child and daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Princess Victoria was briefly the only Princess Royal to hold this title alongside that of heir to the throne, until her brother, the future Edward VII, was born. She was affectionately known within her family as Vicky, and was the eldest of the couple's 9 children. Through marriage she would become a German Empress and Queen of Prussia, and would herself go on to have 8 children. She died in 1901, just 7 months after her mother. Her son, Wilhelm II, would famously become the last Kaiser of Germany, who led the country through the First World War, abdicating in 1918. Princess Louise, daughter of King Edward VII, would be the first Princess Royal to directly follow from the last. Louise was given the title just 4 years after the death of her aunt Princess Victoria. Louise was a quiet and reserved member of the royal family. She became Duchess of Fife through her marriage to Alexander Duff in 1889. Upon becoming the Princess Royal in 1905, her 2 daughters were given the honorifics of HRH and became princesses, the first descendants of a Princess Royal to have this honor, as titles typically run through the paternal line. Despite her determination to live a quiet life, the 5th Princess Royal is perhaps the woman with the most exciting, if perilous, incident. In 1911, Louise and her family were shipwrecked off the coast of Morocco while sailing to Egypt. Tragically, 1 month later, her husband would die in Egypt as a result of an illness contracted during the wreckage. In January 1912, Louise therefore became the Duchess of Fife in her own right. After Louise's death in 1931, Princess Mary became the sixth Princess Royal in 1935. Mary was the only daughter of George V and Queen Mary and, thanks to the abdication crisis, the sister of two kings, Edward VIII and George VI. Mary was active during both the First and Second World Wars, serving as a nurse and the former and controller commandant of the Auxiliary Territorial Service in the latter. She was the honorary president of the Guides, was an outspoken advocate of the land girls movement and qualified as a nurse, working 2 days a week during her course at Great Ormond Street Hospital. Throughout her life she was a passionate campaigner for nursing in women. When she married Viscount Lascelles in 1922, girls and women called Mary, known as the Marys of the Empire, grouped together to donate money for a wedding present. The Princess Royal donated this fund to the Girl Guides and added money of her own to purchase Foxleys, which remains the training center for the Girl Guides. Today, it retains the nickname the Princess Mary House. Mary was the only aunt of Queen Elizabeth II and, a lifelong fan of horse riding and racing, was perhaps partly responsible for the late Queen's similar passion. Her connection to the modern-day royals even extends to the family of the current Princess of Wales, as she was friendly with Kate's ancestors, Olive and Richard Middleton. The current Princess Royal, and was bestowed the title in 1987, 22 years after the death of Princess Mary. Lauded equestrian, famed wit and the balustrade of the Windsors, and is known as one of the hardest-working members of the royal family, carrying out an estimated 20,000 public engagements since her 18th birthday. She remains one of the few female members of the royal family to wear a military uniform and did so at both the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II and the coronation of her brother, King Charles III, at which she rode in the parade in full military garb. Frequently regarded as one of the nation's favorite royals, she is also a trailblazer. She refused royal titles for her children and became the first Princess Royal to divorce, in 1992. She is the first member of the royal family to have competed in the Olympics, the first to have been committed of a criminal offense, fined £500 for having a dangerous dog out of control in 2002, and is almost certainly the first to have survived a kidnapping attempt with the now iconic phrase, "not bloody likely." Princess Charlotte has, therefore, certainly a lot to live up to, should she become our 8th Princess Royal. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.